Welcome back. Welcome back to another Wealth Wednesday. My name is Corey Phillips, and I'm back with another episode of Wealth Wednesdays. We will continue to have another high level conversations. Make sure you all like and subscribe so you all can get more information, share this to your community. For you all that don't know, I'm Corey Phillips. I'm the founder, CEO of Social Storm LLC. I teach financial literacy to youth across America. If you all look, I just had a new interview. I was featured on Black Enterprise at just 22 years old. Make sure to subscribe, share more information. I was featured on my Instagram page as well as my YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, comment, share it up to your friends and family, to any young people that might be inspired about that type of interview, about my background, who I am, some of the work I've done, and where I'm going to be going in the future. So truly inspired to be on that platform with some of the brightest entrepreneurs and people across the world. So I really am appreciative to Alfred Edmond and the Black Enterprise family for inviting me out, being able to put me on that platform while I was there. They got me a very good magazine. I really was excited. They got me a brand new Black Enterprise magazine issued from one of their leaders, Errol Graves Sr., who's the founder of Black Enterprise. They gifted this to me when I was in New York. So it was an amazing opportunity for me to be a part of that space. And I'm just super appreciative for them allowing me to be there as well. And I was able to connect with different people and be able to grow from there. But we're going to keep this thing rolling because it's all about how we can position ourselves. I'm 22 years old. I'm still in college. I'm still a student. I'm still an athlete. But I really want to share this information to people all across the world so we can all have access to this information, so we can all be wealthy, so we can all be able to change our communities and understand it's not about the money, but it's about the mindset. And this is what the show is truly about, so that we can make this a focal point in our communities across the world and how we can rebuild them and not just be in survival mode, but how we can thrive together. And before we get started, just make sure to share this out to your friends and family again. And we're going to get back to this next episode. So for you all that don't know, Nvidia just hit $5 trillion in market cap last week, $5 trillion valuation. It just shows how much power, innovation, and then just timing this shapes the modern economy. It's not just about how they sell chips, but it's about how they're creating a whole entire ecosystem. It connects with Wall Street. It connects geopolitical risks, the block, the global, the local, and the hype to its habits. We're going to go deeper on this mindset of how you can utilize power, perspective, and that path to wealth, because it's not just about money, it's about relationships. It's about timing. It's about basically being able to position yourself so you can be successful, wealthy. Looking at Nvidia just had the first chip maker to cross $4 trillion earlier this year. Analysts predict a potential $9 trillion valuation by 2030, which is insane. But ultimately, people believe that this stock can go further. It's undervalued, a lot of people may say, because they're more than just a chip company. They provide the whole entire ecosystem. They provide the shovels to the gold rush of artificial intelligence. And they're one of the most important companies of this generation. So looking at what they offer is that their chips, their GPU chips, is what they need for powering all large language models and data centers. But the whole entire thing is that CapEx expenditure continue to increase for artificial intelligence. As companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple continue to spend more money on data centers. And they are investing into these different systems so they can have the better large language model they can be able to offer to consumers. Although we talk about bubble, but in reality, we have to see if these different investments is going to pay off eventually down the line. A lot of people think that this is a bubble, but really it's just about control of who's going to be the fastest chips and who's going to have the best large language model at the end of the day. And you see companies like OpenAI having $1 trillion pre-IPO valuation, the most valuable privately held company. They rely on the chips. They rely on the data centers. They rely on the computing power. They rely on the monthly users. So you have to look at it not just from a revenue standpoint. A lot of these companies are making exponential amounts of money, but they're investing billions and billions of dollars into the buildup of these large language models and data centers. But in reality, we have to see how that goes because, like you said, the United States, again, we don't have the energy supply to even power the data centers. So no matter how many chips we buy, if we don't increase the energy grid, then we'll see a huge slowdown in artificial intelligence. So whoever's able to own the energy and be able to build and buy as many of these chips as possible are going to be able to be people that are going to be successful. And the United States is behind, and China has way more energy, way more infrastructure, and the United States is trying to catch up. But we have the companies. So that's the biggest thing, is the biggest lesson is that market cap is just perceived power, how the world values innovation and trust. So how much we believe in Nvidia being the face of the artificial intelligence wave, the artificial intelligence era, is why the valuation keeps on going up exponentially. They're building wealth by controlling the supply chains, their ecosystems, and attention in the modern empire. But it's important that Nvidia wasn't always the person in this light. At first, it was Intel. Intel was the CPU chip maker who was supposed to be Nvidia, but Intel was never able to live up to the hype and then eventually go into the GPU market. They got very comfortable with being number one, but they let people like Nvidia, even though they had way more money and way more leverage at the time, Nvidia was doing something very well at what they do, and that's what's making their chips. And this is a lesson for people to understand, is that you can never get too complacent when you're at the top, because someone else is going to come after you, whether you like it or not. And business is all about who can provide the biggest market share and who can provide the most value to the consumer. And if you continue to stay stagnant in what you do, you don't reinvent yourself and continue to get out of your own pride and ego, you'll be in a similar situation to you were last year. That might be being around people who might be smarter than you. That might be able to humble yourself and thinking that you're not as good as you thought you are. Like, same thing with me. If I'm sitting waiting on an interview from me being on Black Enterprise and I'm not viewing the show, I'm not providing value, I'm not studying my craft, I'm not putting myself out there, then I'm not going to continue to elevate. The same thing with your life. If you're not positioning yourself so that you can be successful, taking more action, position yourself stronger, because at the end of the day, not everybody can be at the top, but those who understand the system, understand how they can build relationships, how they can be able to improve their skill set, and how they can continue to be someone that's irreplaceable. You'll be someone who's going to succeed at the top. But it's still super important. That's just a high level business lesson, that you never get too complacent in what you're doing and where you are, because there's people that's going to come and take it. So that's looking at all the top CEOs, is how you see Steve Jobs took over the whole entire way we perceive computers, and then how you perceive the smartphones. And you look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not even about change how we view electric vehicles. It's not even about how many cars they sell, but how much value that he provides to the company just by his influence. You can hate him or love him, but at the end of the day, this Elon Musk is what sells the company. And they talked about Elon Musk having $1 trillion payout. If Tesla gets about an $8 trillion market share, which is insane. But notice he said he may leave. If Elon Musk left Tesla would not be the same company. So that's how much value he provides to the company. So you have to be able to have that type of value in whatever you're doing, and be able to understand that influence is so important, especially when it comes down to building wealth. And another thing, just talking about the structures and wealth concentration, you look at the top 5 companies, Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet control 30% of the global stock wealth. And the richest 1% hold nearly half of global assets. And central banks and governments indirectly shape markets through policy, wealth flows towards the access and information. So it's not even about having all the different keys to the table if you don't know what information, and then you don't know when the information is going. So many people in our communities, you might just feel disconnected from these flows, but it's not because of lack of talent, but it's a lack of access. A lot of people believe that it's just, oh, they don't know enough, but really you do know. It's just that we don't have the level of access to a lot of these other people at the higher level. But we want to be able to, the goal is for us to move from being consumers to creators and investors and owners. Because if you're not someone who has ownership, and you're not someone that's able to control your life, you're living on the life of other people's terms. And the more people that we can be able to live on our terms, and you'll be able to have true control of your life and your future. Obviously, everyone's going to be an entrepreneur, but it's way better for you to be in control, whether you have to be able to go towards one of your goals. You might want to travel or take care of family or whatever that is. Being able to have more financially free, you'll be able to be in a better position to be able and do that, because you have more options. That you don't have to go to work. You can go to work, but you don't have to go to work if you're financially free. Your type of work might be doing some other things. I want us to understand that we have to be in a position where we have a position of ownership and investing in stocks, investing in businesses, investing in our community. Because if we don't have any of those different things, then we'll be disconnected from what the real power is, and that's having ownership. That so moves in different cycles, and those who understand that timing, cycles, interest rates, and trends, innovation ways build generational wealth. Understanding that these different cycles of what's really important. We're focused on different things that's happening, this dramatic between artists, rappers, and athletics, when we're not really focused on how much generational wealth is being transferred each and every day. We need to understand that many of these different things, situations that our community are in, is intentional based off of different institutional structures. Like underfunded schools is low financial equals low financial literacy. They intentionally create people in a position where they don't teach it in school. They'd rather have a million people that would work for someone than they would have a million people that was able to think for themselves. Look at Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie is one of the most successful business people in the world. That's why he has Carnegie Hall almost on very many universities across the country, because he wants to be able to transcribe how people view information and how they're able to think. Because if you have a lot of people thinking at the higher level, then they don't have as much control. So that's why they create the institutions, they create the curriculum, and they create the way things are structured. And we look at different things like that. We're looking at wage stagnation versus cost of living is the reduced investment ability. If you all are people that think you have the illusion of job security in this economy, you get just enough wage to get by, but not enough to be free, you'll always be asking for more. And you'll never be in a position where you think you can go and do it for yourself. That's why they say it's risky to go into college, but it's not risky to go to, it's good debt to go to college. I think you pay $45,000 a year to go to college debt, student loan debt, than it is for you to get a loan to start your own business. They want you to be able to understand that they think that that's the only way for you to be successful. But in reality, they don't want people to take the risk, because the more people that take the risk, the more freedom that they will have from their life and outside of these corporations and big businesses and media. So that's why it's so important to have those different things. Misinformation. There's emotional investing in quick flips. Every time you see the market goes down, there's always the media companies talking about there will be a recession. There will be a bubble. This will sell all your stock, just to make regular people fearful so they can get out of those positions, so they can never truly be in a situation to build wealth. The true wealth is not built when the markets go up or down, or when the media comes in and out, but it comes through just consistent action and understanding true market flows. You can't sell your companies. You can't be fearful. You can't be someone who is unable to handle these market fluctuation up and down, but understanding that good wealth, long-term wealth, is built through holding long assets for long periods of time. It's not trading meme coins. It's not gambling. It's not day trading. It's not starting very risky fix and flips. It's holding long-term sustainable assets, holding stocks of the top companies that producing market share, high cash flows, low debt, unless it's debt to invest in their company for more profits. Making strategic partnerships, people that are actually in positions that we need market share in. Invest in different classes like gold and silver, commodities, real estate. Three things that have never gone down in the history of the United States is GDP, stock market, and real estate values. Three things that have never gone down in the history of the United States. Things have always gone up 100% of the time, no matter what, has been the stock market, the gross domestic product, and real estate values. So we talk about all these different things, whether it's World War I, World War II, 9/11, 2008, COVID, the stock market, real estate, and GDP have consistently gone up. So get out of the illusion that it's risky to invest. Yes, it's risky to invest, but it's riskier to not invest for your family because your purchasing power is going down exponentially each and every year. The US dollar going down 10% alone this year alone. The US government continues to print trillions and trillions of dollars each and every year. And if your money's not working for you, you'll be in a position where you'll always be a slave to the system. And social media culture, to get rich fast, the mindset of building wealth. A lot of people think that it's just about making things flashy, getting things fun. But in reality, most of the people that are flashing on Instagram are truly broke. All these Instagram followers, these influencers, these athletes, these rappers, they don't even own the things that you're being consumed to buy. There are people who are promoted by products, paid to put them on, and otherwise they wouldn't even have them unless they're getting paid to make you guys think that that's what reality actually is. When real people don't actually care about all those other flashy things, they care about things that can actually make return on investments and not put them into debt. You think about buying a luxury car that makes you look like you're the wealthiest person, but in reality, for more wealthy people, that's a tax deduction. You got a car that's over a G-Wagon, that's over 6,000 pounds, that's a tax deduction, full 100% write-off. While you over here trying to flash on Instagram, this is the car that they're using to deduct and pay no taxes. And we wonder why the wealthy pay no taxes. But they understand the system, and you're getting emotional over them, and you're not taking control of your life. I mean, it's understandable that there's a lot of different things where the wealthy are holding a large percentage of the money, but why don't we actually study them? Why don't we study the moves that they're doing, and how can we apply that to our family? How can we apply that to our community? And how can we educate each other on how we can actually implement this so we can put ourselves in a better place? These problems are local systems of global systems. And when capital moves faster than education, inequality continues to grow. Power isn't just who has money, but it's who has perspective. Understanding these different things is true wealth is information plus timing plus discipline. But most people really don't want to put the information, learn the information, or build the networks and understand the timing of different things. And they don't have the discipline to keep going because everyone's talking about, I want to get things fast. I want to get 500%. I want to get 1,000%. I want to flip this quick. But in reality, that's where most people go get in the wrong perspective. It's really important that a lot of people understand that that's what's really stopping most people from building wealth is all mental. We need to understand that's how we reshape who we truly are and what we really think actual wealth is. We talk about community economics and global thinking is that you look at a lot of people think from scarcity. We think about, we talk about how gloomy the economy is, things are getting higher, things are happening, but how can we be proactive and stop looking from scarcity to strategy, stop reacting and start positioning? We see things are going to get more expensive. So we need to position ourselves and our families and how we can work together that we can be able to go and build things together. Other different communities, how they actually work together. But some communities don't want to work together. We want to get things by ourselves. We want to get the bag. We want to get all the credit. We want to get all this and that. But true wealth is built in collaboration. It's not a single person. It's a whole team effort. And we need to be able to be more or less individual and start working together. Start positioning how we can get our kids into different schools, how we position people within our network, how we can be able to learn different skill sets instead of different things that's having us apart. Like these conversations about Kobe, LeBron, MJ, we need to start talking about how we can buy the block, how we can be able to build media platforms, how we can continue to educate about artificial intelligence, how can we rebuild these parts of our community? How can we eat better? How can we create ecosystems, community centers, things like that, develop talent? Because all of you consume is negativity, things that's going to help us demise, the more that we're going to be further away from being free. So I'm being just a consumer to being a stakeholder. Every single person wants to put Louis Vuitton on, put on Gucci, but you see LVMH making way more money just because 90% of the majority of the people that buy designer clothes are poor. You don't see wealthy people buying designer clothes, things like that. The people that have true wealth are putting that into assets, not just products. We want to look from local survival, but look into global scalability. We want to build brands that live beyond your zip code. Stop thinking beyond the person on your corner, the person that's at your school, the person that's just talking about how you only can be this or that. Think global. We think things are bad in certain neighborhoods, but in our country, in the inner cities of America, but when you look into the perspective of people that's in other countries and underdeveloped nations, you'll be so grateful of what you truly actually have and all the tools that you have, especially in America. We have so many different things that people will take for granted that we really just a mental battle within ourselves, within each other. But when you literally look on a global perspective, you'll really be honored to see how much opportunity that you have. But everything that you become as far as being an entrepreneur, you becoming a leader, it's harder to become the person and that it is to become successful than it is to actually build the business itself. So it's a mindset. The things that you see, the things that you eat, the things that you think about, the people that you're around, the food that you eat. These all play the whole entire road for how you can truly feel and how you think. From paycheck to portfolio, I want you to understand that your job is not your end goal. Your job is to fund your freedom. Use your job as a vehicle for you to invest in different assets that can continue to free you later. Or it's not us, the government is not going to save us. You have to save yourself. And that starts with you. It starts with your mindset. It starts with your family. And then you can go and use your family to work into other families to build your community. Being able to strategically think on how we can position ourselves. Nvidia built $1 trillion empire by selling tools to the innovation, selling tools and shovels and pickaxes for the gold mine of artificial intelligence. We can build generational wealth by selling the tools of transformation, education, media, and ideas that can continue to transform how we think and how we act and how we utilize these things in our community. You have to have the ability to adapt for change. The world's wealthiest companies are people who are pivot their strategy to stay ahead. If we're still stuck in things about keeping things the same, keeping things in our community, but no progress, then you're going to constantly fall behind. And this wave of automation is that we continue to see more and more large language models and robots and artificial intelligence get bigger and better, while they have lesser need for regular people and lesser people that understand how to use and implement artificial intelligence. So if you're someone who's against artificial intelligence and you want to still be employed in the next 3 to 5 years, you probably should get started because it's here and it's here to stay, whether you like it or not. So you rather be on the good side of change, or would you rather be on the side that's left behind? Because this is something that we cannot afford to get left behind in. Get left behind in this new wave of investing, this new wave of automation, this new wave of information. It's not a lack of information, it's lack of implementation. It's not a lack of resource. We have plenty of resources. We have more information than any other generation could have ever had. But there's a lot of information that we're overstimulated by things that don't actually matter, don't actually help us, that we have a lot of people in indecision on how we can actually be connected. We have social media with more access to more and more people, but we have all these different people, but we have a bigger reality where people feel more disconnected than ever. Can you create a community that connects people, that can be able to provide a platform to help people feel more connected, but also serve something that they can learn something powerful, that they can learn something that's valuable, that they can become the better person that they really think they can become. So if you're someone who can really want to be able to be successful and build wealth in this next age, either build a system or community that people provide value, that makes them feel healthier, that helps them feel wealthier, that helps them feel a part of something, sharing your story, your own perspective that other people resonate with. Another thing is providing some sort of major skill, providing a skill that other people don't know. Artificial intelligence cannot change what people with actual skill sets have. The people that don't actually know what they're doing will get priced up by artificial intelligence, but people who actually know this information that specialize towards people and the human connection will still thrive, because people have information, but they don't have the information to actually analyze it, to actually cognitively analyze the information and quantitative data. So we need people who actually understand that and move that towards the future. Understanding different trades and careers in that area will continue to be the next millionaires. So people that invest in those different areas, starting your trades and invest in those different companies, are going to be people that are going to be successful, because that's what we need them. We need hundreds of thousands of trades people and all of these different things moving the next 5-10 years. We need the role of education and financial literacy is that just generational gaps start with a lack of exposure. If all we're exposed to is negativity and scarcity and indecision, then that's what we're not going to be able to teach that. They don't intentionally want us to not teach this in school. They want us to teach algebra, but not asset ownership, so we don't know how to actually cultivate and build our communities together. Financial literacy is the new civil rights issue. It's not enough to make money. We have to understand how money moves globally. It's not just about getting a check. It's not just about getting a bag. It's about creating systems that we can move globally within building wealth. We need to be able to host workshops. We need to be able to host youth panels, investing in circles where we need new and bright stars coming to place. We have a lower rate of home ownership than we do now and than we did after the civil rights movement. So if that's something that doesn't stand out to you, then that's something that we need to change. We need to leverage platforms to be able to connect different youth to opportunities, how we can be able to add mentorship, how we can connect different platforms, how we can network, how we can collaborate, not just off the base of ego, but how we can actually cultivate a community that's better for everyone. I shouldn't have to be excelling at this. I have to be the norm. We don't need just one person like me. We need people all over the country that works and speak in our communities about financial literacy. We need people that's all over the community that's preaching about how we can collaborate. We need people all over the community how we can be able to understand what true actual wealth is. It's just a mindset. It's not how much money you make. And how we can think of how we can leverage that globally to build our influence. And then looking at the global economy and power game is AI infrastructure is now the global currency. Countries' race controls it. You look at whoever's building these different data centers is going to be able to continue to build up and build power for that next wave. The US and China are competing for semiconductor dominance. It's literally a war of tech right now. Energy, tech, and data is the new gold. And inflation and rating shifts still dictate access to capital. Someone who's an investor, look at the global perspective. I think we're smart in investing. Understand what the economic shift is towards Africa having the most minerally rich continent in the world, with the average rate of 19 years old for the continent of Africa. As birth rates will go down in the United States and talent continues to go elsewhere, we'll have to see who's going to be able to cultivate and who's going to be able to build on the continent of Africa, and who's going to be able to cultivate these next generation of youth. Which social media platform is going to continue to influence the youth that's moving to the next generation? What type of political parties are going to be able to pave the way for these different systems and structures that's going to be able to shift the global order of power? Understanding the macroeconomics helps prevent being trapped by short-term trends. These different tariffs, these different things that's happening in negotiation and deals and things like that, and collaboration of businesses at the top, there's strategic ways for them to influence their power towards the future. Now, who is in alliance with the United States government to ensure the company's growth over the next 4 to 5 years. So looking in those different positions of different companies that are continuing to position themselves with the White House, with the global scale, with Saudi Arabia, investments in China, and relationships and partnerships, and looking at how we can not look at it from a political game, but how we can look at it from a strategic game. Look at these different companies that are going to be able to thrive over the next 5 to 10 years. Follow where the government spends, not where the influencers post. We look where the government is having strategic partnerships and stakes in different companies like Intel, like Nvidia, like MP, like Palantir, like SpaceX, like Apple, like Microsoft, like Meta. All these companies are strategically positioned with the United States government to ensure their company's growth in the future. We're not focused about these influencers and what they're doing, trying to sell us our products and how we can be poor and how we can continue to fight against each other. We're enough of the Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe debates. If we're not talking about ownership, we're not really building this up, because the only thing NBA players are just to consume, are just basically employees for businesses. We don't have one majority owner, African American owner within the NFL or NBA. So how can we get where we have about 50-60% of the NFL, but we have no majority owners? So understand how we can be looking from a perspective of not just being a player in the field, but how can we own the team? Because if you don't own different systems, you don't have those different systems of economic access to be owning different teams, being in political parties and being access to capital, you will never be able to have that true power in terms of wealth. The hidden cost of the powerlessness is many challenges. Many young people are disconnected. Okay. People who actually don't feel disconnected from actual ownership actually is. They think ownership is buying nice cars, having nice jeans, having quick fame on social media. But really having ownership is, we're focused on consumption, but we're not focused on how we can actually build capital. We're distracted by short-term validation instead of long-term equity. All the people that we want to have, who is the most fly growing up, are people that's always having the most expensive clothes on, or expensive shoes, or doing the things that just gets them the most attention, but not how we can actually create a platform for people that have been able to not feel like they're the coolest, but they're the people that have the greatest and brightest ideas. If we can't talk power, we don't talk ownership. We have to have ownership in these different things. We talk about these different companies, but we don't actually invest in these different companies. Every dollar spent is a vote, it's a transfer of power. We have to understand what motivates people and just continue to markets in life, and you understand how the power shifts. We see tariffs and all the markets are going up and down, but in reality, of the long run, that doesn't matter. A lot of people say buy when people are fearful, because that's truly where things happen. When people are technically fearful, that's when everybody else is buying, and that's when all the people who are scared are selling off and not being able to build wealth. But understanding that just having that vision is that real power isn't control, it's in contribution. But use wealth to create access, opportunity, empowerment, because the more money you have, that you have more opportunity to be able to provide to the world. You have to build the infrastructures like families, LLCs, education funds, community development portfolios, so that we can be able to provide access, resources, and community things towards the future. It's a team sport. You can't do this alone. Global investors collaborate, and our communities must do that too. We think that we have to make it out the mud, but we can make it out the mud together. Be able to teach groups economics and investment literacy. We need to be able to lead in how we can actually collaborate. Co-ops, foreign family trusts, youth accelerators. You need to focus your energy, and power grows and attention and capital is towards a single mission. When everyone's trying to go 5 different ways, whether we're talking about DEI, whether we're talking about upward mobility, and we're talking about all these other avenues, the most successful movements are when people focus on something at the greater cause that benefits people for the greatest. We can't have separate ways having our own specific issues. We have to find ways to work together to have a common cause. Outside of pride, outside of ego, outside of our own personal gain, we have to work on how we can use this collectively, because no one else will. It starts with you. But for people who understands the future belongs to those who think globally and act strategically. It's learned from the laws of different ways people can actually use this information. Apply them with purpose in your life and use finance as a tool for freedom. Power isn't given. It's earned through knowledge, network, and execution. So it doesn't mean anything if you know all this information, but if you can't implement, you can actually share this to others. That's the most important thing. I want people in my community who are truly designed to build communities, not people who are looking to take from communities. We want people that we can collaborate together, not people who can bring people apart. It's the bigger than you, but it's how you can impact the world. The bigger you become in business is the more value you provide to each other. Take yourself and your own self-limiting beliefs outside of the picture, because everything that we talk about, everything that we see, that you think you're going off of algorithms, or you're going off of clicks, or how popular you are, when there's someone out there that really needs the service or needs the value or needs you in their life, it can impact them tremendously to bring up the next generation of youth, or whoever you're impacting, regardless of what age they are. You have something to provide value to the world, and you are the one who deserves to share it. I want you to understand that this is the most important thing that we need to understand as a community. If you don't have economic power, then the rest of this stuff doesn't matter, because the people who have the money are the people that fund the candidates who are positioned in the office. And if you have no capital, if you don't have access to that and in collaboration, you'll never be able to win an election. You'll never be able to win these different avenues, regardless of who's in office or whoever is in different positions. You have to understand this is what it takes to rebuild your community. It's not just you, it's your community. It's about how you can collaborate. It's not about your own personal life, but it's about how you can make everyone's life better collectively. Less being selfish, being selfless. And we can't change the world overnight, but we can change how the world thinks about wealth. And that's truly what I'm just trying to do within my community. That's what we are doing in my community. Just continue to build people up, how they can build wealth and how they can share to their community. I'm doing my inner circle community. I just want to teach you all how to invest, the basics. If I don't teach you all anything else, so that you can be able to get started and share this to your family. I want you to be able to join my inner circle if you want to be able to get this information every single Wealth Wednesday. So wealth is just bigger than just money, but it's a mindset. And the more we have these transparent conversations about what this actually means, the greater our future can become. So all the accolades, all of the fame, all the money, all that stuff doesn't matter if you don't have the true intention, you don't have the true purpose of what you do with the money. How we can shift the way our communities are. How we can all be successful. Just because one person makes it to the top doesn't mean other people can't. But we need to be able to put those people who aren't truly helping others out of the system, put the people who actually are in the system. Media has never been true. It's only been a perspective of what the people at the top with money project how media is and how you should think, how you should be, how you should fear, what you should talk about. But the people at the top are controlling what your decisions you make if you don't understand what true influence is to the world and how that actually affects your life. So if you're not someone who continues to look through social media, get mad with people online, you're half the time you're arguing with robots. You're seeing things that you don't even know what the difference is between real and what's fake. Your understanding of what things that are actually happening in the community and what things that actually aren't. Most people aren't taking the ability to actually go out and read these different books and just taking the first thing that they see. That people would rather go and argue online than actually go face to face and actually collaborate and talk behind people's back. People would actually rather go and talk bad about a place they've never been than actually go visit themselves and have the idea for themselves. People would rather go talk about a community that they've never known, that they've never been to, than actually go and actually help the community. We have too many things that we talk about on social media, but we don't actually have things that we actually implement. If you're not someone who's adding to the table, you're just pulling away from the table. And if I don't want people who's going to complain and create excuses for different things, but people who can actually come with solutions. And that's what we're truly building, is what true wealth actually means. It's not about what you know. Knowledge without power is just knowledge without applying it is just a wish. If you don't actually make it happen, then it will just continue to stay in your mind. It will just continue to dwindle, and you won't be able to pass it down to the next generation. And that's what it's all about. And this is something why I truly started this Wealth Wednesdays, because there's no one in Gen Z, there's no one in this community that's truly wanting to be able to create change that we can truly have for our communities economically. And there's not someone that's been on Wall Street for 40 years, someone that might be in a different generation. This is the generation now. Generation Z is the most powerful information with everything at the tip of our fingerprints. But we all are focused on three different things. But how can we be unified, and how we can utilize wealth and create ecosystems and systems so that we can be able to structure the way and how our future actually is? how we can fight economic injustice, how we can fight climate change, how we can fight and rebuild our community, use our voice, which is most powerful than anything. And that's truly what it's all about. So we are the ones that control the future, and it just starts with how we think and how we act and how we work together. So that will conclude this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at CoreyPhillips3. Make sure to subscribe and to this channel. Share to your friends and your family. And we will see you all soon. You have a good night.